2026. And so I think, can we display the agenda there?
Yes.
And the first item, I guess I need to take a roll, as a matter of fact. Let me take the roll. Brittany?
Present.
Jen?
Present.
Diane?
Present.
Al? I'm here, I think. It was difficult. Joe?
Here.
Okay, and Corrine is not here. She couldn't
Can
make
you
it.
put everyone on the screen so everyone is visible, and also Finn?
It'll if I start talking, it'll put me on.
Correct.
Yeah,
The owl automatically goes to whoever's,
Okay.
voices.
it's pretty neat.
All right, so let's start. In information, I just wanted to report that repair that we previously authorized on the water filtration system has been performed and cost about $600, and it's just nothing that I've required to report it to all you good housing board members, and that I have now done so. Okay.
Thank you for your reporting.
Okay, let's review the minutes.
Sorry.
There's actually minutes of 2 meetings that we've held since our last official meeting. The first meeting is on February 3rd. That's the regular meeting, and these are the minutes which I had previously distributed to you. I can give you a chance to review the minutes, but when you're done, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes. It's a nice office.
What was that?
I make a motion to approve the minutes of February 3rd.
Diane's made a motion to approve the minutes. Do I hear a second?
I second.
The motion is second. Very well. Any discussion? Shall we vote? Diane?
Aye.
Ken?
Hi.
Brittany?
Aye.
Me? Aye. And Joe?
Aye.
Okay, the minutes are hereby approved. Now, this next meeting is the short meeting we had to discuss the stuff for the info session, basically. And we had a quorum there, so I thought the best thing to do would be to write minutes and approve them. I think we should. So, again, I give you a chance to look at them, but otherwise I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you. Brittany has made a motion to approve the minutes. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Diana seconded the motion. Further discussion? Very well. We will vote. Diane?
Aye.
Ben?
Hi.
Brittany?
Aye.
Me? Aye. Joe?
Aye.
Thank you very much. The minutes are approved. All right, so back to the agenda.
Yep, just remember to send those to me and mark them final so I can post them.
Okay, will you do that?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Thank you.
Brittany.
Thank
I
you.
got you.
Thanks.
All right, so the next item on the agenda is the rental assistance program. So Brittany, could you let us know what the status is and tell us any issues that you need help with or a decision to be made about?
You said Brittany, but you meant Wendy.
you meant Wendy.
Wendy.
Just making sure.
I'm usually confused, guys.
That's why you have us.
It's going well. Just today, I had 3 different phone calls / emails about rental assistance, new people that I've never heard of. 3 brand new people. So I'm trying to see, like, they all called about rental assistance. So I'm trying to gauge like the need and trying to figure out, if I have enough money to put more people in. I think the next 2 people come out in August. So I do have still extra money that I'd like to use up. So I might put in another person or 2, knowing that I have someone coming out in August and I'll be getting new money. So it's just great because these people, I didn't even, usually I'll have somebody come in and I'll say like, oh, have you ever heard of the rental assistance program? And I don't know where these one person, actually, I don't know where any of them heard it from. Actually, I know where one of them heard it from. So Dave McKiernan gave me a person that is in need, a senior that is a friend of his. So we're trying to figure out if he would qualify. His income is right on the cusp. So, and then I have another person today that emailed me, never heard of her in my life, and so I sent her an application, and then another person. So it's great. I don't know. It's great.
Word of mouth, maybe?
Yeah, word of mouth, maybe just the open house presence.
Yeah.
Our view, of course, has been, I think, and I believe it still is, that we should be doing exactly what you're doing. We should try to maximize the funds we have. Not be
yes.
off on any artificial limits. And I mean, I think it counts as kind of the average over the years. So if you can scrape together funds like that,
I already have like 17 families in, and I probably could fit 1 or 2 more. And it's mostly because we use that BEAT money to cover that ending BEAT money that we had to get rid of. Like, remember the ARPA funds to get rid of. So that gave me a lot of extra money. So now,
Yeah,
good.
great.
That's wonderful. Are there any questions or difficult issues that you need us to make some sort of decision about, Wendy?
Not tonight.
Okay, great.
It might come to that. It might come to that depending on the people on the waiting list. And I've never really had to prioritize anybody. So
We've done it before.
yeah, once we did, but this could be different. So
Well, I'll be glad to give you a hand if you need it.
okay, great. Thanks.
All right. Now let me launch into a bunch of stuff about the Stowe Road property. As you know, I suppose, there's a bunch of figures on Stowe Road that are coming up. It seems that that we are definitely not going to use Stowe Road to build a firehouse.
Yay. A decision.
Yeah.
So that means that somehow or other, some group of people or the other have to decide what the best thing to do with this property that the town owns. And I would like to start talking about it, explore the options. I am sure, I don't know quite who is control of the Stowe Road property. The deed says that it's kind of us. On the other hand, regardless, even if we are in complete control of what happens to Stowe Road, it doesn't make any sense for us to just make an arbitrary decision.
Right.
For one thing, this has to be approved by town meeting. And it's for political reasons, it's good to build support, and certainly for the point of view of the town, it's important to have some option that most people in town think is good for them.
Yeah.
So I think my view is that we should start looking at the problem, do what research we can, present the options, present the pros and cons, and then write a memo to the select board.
Right.
And that can be reviewed and discussed townwide, and hopefully we'll be able to converge on some sort of a optimal thing to do with Stowe Road.
Yeah.
So I want to that's my view, and I think I just want to start the process.
Yeah.
Tonight. So with that in mind, let me just show a sort of a version of a slideshow that I showed a couple of meetings ago. That's Stowe Road. I don't know if you can make out the blue line. The blue line encompasses the area that we own. And it's off of Stowe Road, and to the left of it, you can see Mass Avenue, and just off to the left of the screen is Town Hall. So that kind of places you, and above there, above the blue line, that's Foxborough Meadows. So just so you know where this place is, in case you don't know already. If you could have, let's move on to the next one.
Yes, sir.
Now, in my thinking, and from some of the discussions we've had, these are at least some, or maybe not all, maybe all of the viable options for what we could do with Stowe Road. I mean, the number one would be a modest affordable housing development. We could try to build a 40B complex there, though 40B developers have not been very enthusiastic about it. We have talked to Habitat for Humanity, and that has not seemed to be too favorable, but maybe because for one thing, we have to give them the land. And for another thing, it's not clear our zoning is consistent with them building there. But I have more to say on that. The other thing is that I sent along a article from the Globe that Kristen had found, and I think that this pertains to this item here. I think there is such a thing as just simply building a less expensive house. Maybe building on a smaller acreage, but build it so it its market value is within the range of perhaps a starter home and a middle range home or everything else. And that would, the idea there would be to use Stowe Road as kind of a testing ground for the development of such housing. Now, I'm not going to go through this article in detail, but you ought to read it. It's interesting, and let's see, should I get ahead of myself too? It appeared, well, I will say that in the info session that we all attended, and we'll have more about that, it seemed that that was the kind of housing people seemed to want.
I was gonna ask, like, this seems directly related to the missing middle that was on our poster board, right? That Ian had put together. And I was curious, Ian, maybe this is the time or not the time. Did we have preliminary data collected from the open house, what people voted on, or the survey?
We'll get to that later.
Okay, yeah.
Let me just.
What do you mean missing middle?
Well, the
Sorry.
thing is that in Foxborough, it seems that there's a lot of pretty reasonable low income housing, like on the other side of 495 and everything. It's good for a single person or maybe a pair of single people, but not for a family. And not for a family that's wanting to come in town and start living in. And so this sort of the middle range housing that seemed to be, if you combine the starter and the middle range housing that were specified as what we need in the info session, that was the overwhelming favorite. So anyway, we'll talk more about that. That's what I'm talking about. So maybe we could figure out a way to use it as a test bed to see what we can come up with there. Okay, the other ones have to do with.
Wait, as built less expensive home, what does that mean, as built?
It means that it's built.
Is it being built and just put on the land?
It's being built, or maybe even a prefab house, but regardless, its building technique is such that it doesn't end up to be too expensive in the first place. And the cost does not need to be brought down by all sorts of programs, legislation, and everything else.
Right.
So that's what I meant by that.
Okay.
Then the fourth option and the fifth option are to sell it in some way. My particular view is if we sell it, we should put it on the market, determine the optimal price for it, and then offer it to the town at a discounted price. just to prove that we're good Foxborough citizens. That's just my idea of what to do. And then the idea would be to use the funds in some creative way to encourage people to increase the housing, the middle range housing by building, accessory dwelling units or perhaps another house on their spacious lot.
Right.
And use that money as a program to encourage that. It'll be tricky, probably require some thinking on our part, but it seems like it's possible, and that would be the idea there. And then finally, there's two others to keep it as an investment. Just kind of what we've been doing, and rehabilitate the buildings, which everybody's looked at it as said that, that those buildings are beyond repair, but we could have another look at it. Now, I think there's quite a lot of sentiment in town to actually build something on the property. But in fact, let's go to the next.
Yes, sir.
This morning, I got an email from Channing Wyatt, and he's become quite interested in this. So he is going to go ahead and check with Habitat for Humanity and Kelly Crone of the Acton Housing Authority to see if there are any, whether they can suggest any useful ways to build housing on there. And as far as I'm concerned, anybody who wants to get involved, all the better. I mean, I think we need to get the best ideas together. And we'll stop talking in a minute, but I guess my general thinking is that what we ought to do is divide us up, form two task groups in this today. One would be to look at the best kind of housing to put on there, and the other to look at selling it for some price, and whether that would enable us to perhaps use the money to help a wider variety of people in Foxborough. The idea being to put together information and then present it in a memo, white paper, something like that, to the select board, and then we're off and running, and various committees can make their opinion, and we can hopefully decide on something, right? So that is the end of what I wanted to say, and I'll let others talk.
So, knowing what I know about the affordable housing options in Foxborough, I am not in favor of doing 40B development. I am, however, in favor of affordable rentals. I think while we have a good selection, like off 495, being somebody who lives out in that area, I feel like I'm in the outskirts of the community. I'm a poor person out on the outskirts of the community. That's what it kind of feels like. It would be really great to have some affordable rentals that are more like in town. And that is a great spot to have them. And it makes it, it would make it very accessible to look for low income people to get to like town hall. And like it's on the MART route and everything. So you can centralize a lot of like little services and stuff as needed there. And it integrates your more low income people into the wider community. So it's more mixed. So I like the idea of some rentals. And I was actually listening to NPR actually earlier today. They had a story and they were talking about the housing situation like nationwide. And they were talking about that there is a very broad need for more affordable rentals. Also, like more affordable starter homes is good.
But
that's most of what we have. The thing is, we have mostly 40Bs, almost exclusively. I think it's exclusively 40Bs is all the affordable units that we have in Foxborough. There's no affordable rentals. And I, as somebody who has been on those lists and been trying to get a Section 8 or a 40B or something, I've never been able to get into anything. If I were to apply for affordable rental right now, anywhere, it wouldn't be in Boxborough, because there's none in Boxborough.
Well,
I'd have to move out of the town.
there are some in Boxborough, but you have to put a big asterisk
Mhm.
by that statement. There's Paddock Estates. We don't monitor it, but it is an affordable rental 40B complex.
It's not a 55 plus.
Not a 55 plus, no. The problem is that if you actually look at the affordable rentals, I don't know what they are now, but you know, they're pretty high.
No.
Yeah, but well,
Moderate.
the way the
It's
affordable rentals
moderate.
work is that the state
Moderate,
pays.
is that it?
It's moderate affordable. So there's 3 different levels: moderate, affordable.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll let Kristen. I know Kristen has her hand raised, but I have more to say about that.
Kristen?
I was trying to lower it. Sorry, Wendy beat me to it to say, yeah, there's Section 8 in there. There's moderate housing in there, but I was trying to lower it and didn't lower. Okay, thanks.
Sorry.
No, sorry. No, my bad.
Somehow you actually want to say something, you have to raise your gesture.
But the Section 8 vouchers are the ones through the government. So they don't they don't have like a section at Paddock that says, oh, here are my Section 8s. Like they have to accept a voucher if that's where the person wants to live. Like
If you can get a voucher.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So when you say there's no affordable housing, there's plenty
I'm
of
saying
people.
affordable rentals.
Yeah. Well, that's the
So
thing.
the affordable rentals, those are, you apply for the affordable unit and then like the government does pay a portion, or do you have to have a Section 8 to get into an affordable unit? That's
3. No, there's 3 different things. And I've been studying this because it's driving me crazy. There's the market rate, which is what you pay. Then if you go on Paddock Estates, you can look. Then there's one called affordable housing, but those are the ones that are still like $2,000. You have to make a certain amount of income and you have to be under a certain amount of income. So you're not allowed to, and it's only about a $300 discount. And you have to go through like very, very strict screening. And it's only $300. So I call it's moderate affordable, but it's really not. Then you have your fixed rate, the 30% of income, and that is your Section 8. So your Section 8 voucher. And you can use that at certain places as long as they'll give you like an amount, like Section 8 will give you an amount. It's very, very strict. Like, it's a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom. I've seen people that have gotten divorced and they were in an affordable and then they had to go down to a 1-bedroom to keep that once the person left. So we don't have any, like if you go to Acton has family public housing. So public housing is different. We don't have any public housing in Boxborough, but we can access it through the Acton housing. So the public housing again it's 30% of your income. So we don't have any public housing in Boxborough, but you can use your voucher in Boxborough and the landlord tenant has to accept it as long as it's within the limit of what the state says. Like if you're a single person, you can't take your Section 8 voucher and get a 2-bedroom. You can't take if you're 2 people, you can't take your Section 8 voucher and get a 3-bedroom. So there's very strict rules.
Okay, so I think that Al's suggestion is a good one, that we create 2 subcommittees or task forces to dig deeper into the 2, because there's really 2 buckets of options, the way you put it, right? Either we develop some kind of housing on the lot in some capacity, or we sell it and we use the money to invest in other housing initiatives, right? Those are the 2 broad umbrellas. Right. So I think rather than us get into the weeds of we can keep talking about some of it now. I think it is helpful to some extent, but like, do we have it? Like, is your commentary an interest in serving on one of the subcommittees, or like participating in one of the subcommittees to investigate.
I think Kristen wants to say something.
Yeah, she's got her hand raised.
Kristen, well, yeah, okay, is this an artifact or you want to, actually, the floor is yours.
And the black cat, I love it.
Cat, that's Mouse. A client moved and couldn't take him, so now he's mine.
Oh.
Okay, so these are just my 2 cents. Is I feel like you've got 2 viable options on the table. One is to put it on the open market and get as much money as you can for it and put it into the trust. I just don't think it's realistic to offer it to the town right now because we can't afford it. I mean, now, you could take it in baby steps. You could offer it to the town, let them say no, thank you, and then put it on the open market if you felt that politically that was the appropriate thing to do, and that gets money in your kitty. But I was the one that sent that article to Ian and Al to be disseminated and all that. I would love to see you go to the planning board, and and Alec got it too, and say, what do you think, planning board, about working with us to amend our zoning, to put in some kind of an overlay on Stowe and be exactly what Al was saying, is be that test case for creating an overlay where you could do higher density, size specific houses. Now, if you do that with the planning board, that's going to take a year for us to figure it all out and bring it back to town meeting next year. So that's going to take some time. I'm not going to lie to you. That's what I'm most excited about, because if you sell it to a developer, you're going to get lots of money. You'll get more than $1 million, but that doesn't improve our housing stock. Whereas if we actually start committing, and then we bring in Finn's idea, maybe part of that overlay is that there's a certain percent of rentals and there's a certain percent of singles and there's a couple of townhouses. I know it's only 7 acres of upland, but I don't know. I just feel like, I guess my advice is don't study it too hard. Bring in the people that can help you make the decisions and try to move it as quickly as possible. And that would be Ian and Alec first. Okay, that's it. That's my whole spiel. It's kind of a combination of everybody.
Just to be clear about what my idea is, I don't want this to be another development where it's like, oh, we'll do 10% of the homes that are affordable. I would love to see 100% affordable housing, because there's plenty of not affordable housing around it.
No, that's what I'm saying, Finn, is that you build a mix.
100%.
I'm agreeing with you. What I'm saying is go work with the planning board, because you either have to sell it or work with the planning board. Those are your 2 options. Okay. Because that's it. Really. So that's what I'm saying is expedite it. And there can be, again, small, moderately priced housing. There could be affordable. You've got a lot of details to work out. Who owns it? Who's managing it? All of that good stuff, but planning board is going to be your first stop. And I just don't want to see you get bogged down in 6 months of subcommittee and then you missed the opportunity to either go to special town meeting or next May. I mean, ideally you bring something to special town meeting while the whole town is thinking about Stowe Road and what are we going to do with it. I'm also going to encourage you to get Sheriff's Meadow, Tisbury Meadow, and the Enclave on board early, no matter what you're doing.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
But
Figure out
anyway,
what the
yeah. All right,
I have a question. So the buildings on the property, they probably need to be demolished and cleared. Is that a step that we could probably work on before making any other decision? Actually getting those properties cleared off the land, or because they're older homes and they have some interesting, I actually met a group that goes to old homes, historic homes, and especially if they're being demolished, they'll salvage pieces from them because sometimes they use those to restore other buildings. So I'm wondering if maybe we would like to try to offer that to a group or organization like that to salvage before demolishing anything. And that might be a step that we can take before we even decide what we're doing with it, because we know most likely we just need to get those buildings cleared off.
Do you have input on that? This is kind of what you do for a living, right? I'm actually curious what Joe thinks are the best ideas too. No?
Yeah, no, great ideas. I think clearing the land first would, that'd be part of a sale of the property or closer towards working with a developer. I think the path of least resistance, if we want to take action on this and not let the land sit, is to either sell it or engage with planning board through Alec and Ian. I would not suggest engaging with planning board right off the bat. I would suggest going through Ian and Alec, but that's going to be a long slog. So I think you got to be really tight, have a tight package for the planning board, even though, you know, you're looking to collaborate with them, but you got to have a really tight package to, you know, to present to be able to work with them. So I
What do
think
you mean by tight package?
the ideas have to be pretty well fleshed out.
I'm not talking about clearing the whole land. I'm suggesting working with a group that can salvage the parts from the buildings that can be used for other restoration projects. I'm not sure how it works, but I think they would actually pay depending on what they're able to salvage from it. So it might be like a little bit of scratch for the Affordable Housing Trust to do something like that before demolishing the buildings, which is probably going to have to be done at some point.
Yeah, so that activity could be definitely coordinated, ahead of any demolition of those buildings. I think in terms of proposing or working with the planning board, we've got to really understand. I was fortunate to walk out on the site with the MBTA communities group. I'm not sure what the developability of that parcel is. I mean, you've got a lot of grade issues. You might even have some rock or ledge. It's heavily vegetated. So I think there's a lot of environmental constraints in terms of the unit count you'd be proposing. I just think you need to understand, if we're going to go the route of proposing something to the planning board or working with them, I think we need to have a better understanding of the developability of the parcel.
I believe there was somebody already eyeballing it and had an idea for a development, and I can't remember her name. But when I was told about it, it was like 10 to 12 units. And that's like kind of the cap on where it's at in terms of like what you could reasonably put on it. Like, I think some of that has been explored, but we have to put all of our info together, I guess. Yep.
So I think, I think we've got to weigh the magnitude or weigh the costs and benefits. I agree, we need more housing. We need more housing across the spectrum from low income to middle income. But if it's going to be, it's going to be a really uphill effort, if it's really only 10 units on that land, on that parcel, is it one building? Is it single family detached 10 units? Is it duplexes? Is it condos? I think you've got to have a really tight, there's a lot of more information we need before we engage with the planning board. Another option would be to solicit an affordable housing developer or a mixed income developer through a mechanism like an RFP, RFQ. Tell them we design exactly what we want it to be, or at least tell them our goals, and then we market that and select a developer who can meet our needs. That would be a sale of the land or some kind of deed arrangement. But I think that would be a good developer, basically a prospectus of what the housing board in the town would like to see in terms of adding to our housing stock, and put it out on the market and select a developer to do it.
We actually did that about 10 or 12 years ago. It was a committee called the Stowe Road Concept Development Committee. And we had about 2 years worth of meetings. And we did look at a lot of the physical constraints, and we concluded that you probably could have put about 18 to 20 units on it. In fact, we spent a lot of time writing an RFP, just like we talked about, to developers. And we took it around just to developers we knew would probably not be involved. And they said that nobody's going to bid on this because there's not enough units in there. So we were, rightly or wrongly, discouraged.
Mhm.
And, so, I mean, there is that. I mean, I think a 40B, at least unless the market or conditions have changed, it very well might be that a conventional 40B development is not going to be attractive to developers. That was our previous experience.
And
Do we
hasn't
have
that,
any developers right now who wanna talk? Do we know any names at the moment of developers who feel like talking about this?
Good question.
Oh, we have developers we've talked to. I think, I forgot the name of the developer we talked to one a couple of years ago. Forgot who it was.
Woman.
I'd still be in
What?
favor.
There was a woman who showed
Oh,
interest.
and we talked to Mark Brooks.
Oh, that's right. Mark Brooks.
I'd still be in favor of sitting down and having a conversation with Charles Durrett, the author of the co-housing books that I had recommended. That would, like, because we actually have the land, we're at a stage where, talking to him and, rolling around in our heads if we would want to have somebody like him or a similar developer, on, well, we could conceivably work on making that decision.
I don't think there's any harm in
Having a
doing
conversation.
that.
Yeah, because he could take a look at the land and spitball some ideas compared to other co-housing communities he's done. Because there's a wide variety of properties that they've used. Sometimes they do urban renewal stuff with lots of constraints. Sometimes there's very small communities that they've been able to do. I think they've even done some maybe tiny home communities. I like the idea of maybe like a little tiny home village there. That would be pretty rad, I think.
I do agree with Joe, though. I mean, I think in order to sell anything to the planning board or probably anybody else, we do need to have something worked out in our minds. It's fairly concrete and detailed, in which we've thought of the possible problems. Now, if we do it, it's probably going to take longer. Kristen, you say that if that happens, it'll drag out forever. Perhaps we ought to enlist Ian and Alec to do it. Ian, what do you think about that?
I think that was perjury. I think you just got me in trouble with the planning board. I didn't mean that in a derogatory way. I just meant there would be a lot of discussion and lots of paperwork. And Ian, delete that section.
Redacted. No, I'll actually back Kristen up here. If you guys remember, the MBTA communities, we've become paper compliant with the MBTA communities, and the planning board cited the reason of us not having a housing production plan for being the reason that we ended up with paper compliance. So they want to see something comprehensive anytime that a package comes to them that will lead to or has housing in it. So we'll get to this discussion on housing production plan shortly, but I don't think it's impossible to work hard on this for a few months and put together a really strong package that shows that we've done our homework, we've done our research on the possibilities of this land, incorporate some outreach work, and present it to them, whether it's later this year or tail end of this year. I think that I get what Kristen's saying is that, and Joe is saying that we need to come to them with a very polished proposal for this property if we do not plan to sell it, if we want to keep it for ourselves and or have something developed from it on our own accord. So we can talk about the housing production plan a bit more, but Kristen, I see your hand up, but
Agree with everything you said. And what I was thinking about is, I think the first thing the housing board should do is what's the priority? So in other words, is it sell it quickly, get $1 million plus back into your coffers, and then do you have a plan for that $1 million? Or do you want to try to initiate, and I'm smiling because you know my preference, or do you want to try to initiate something special? You know, so I would say that's your first decision is what makes the most sense for the town of Boxborough, and you are the experts in affordable housing. So that's where I would start, and then you figure out the rest of it.
Doesn't this bring us back to Al's original proposal of creating two teams like within the housing board? One to collect the information about what it would look like to sell and then use that money for some other creative housing purpose, and one to investigate the different development options. I mean, I think we're in the same place we were 20 minutes ago. Like, we need more information.
That
so
you just,
maybe
my concern was you can overstudy it. This, and I'm saying this with love, all of our boards and commissions tend to take too long studying. I have to believe you already have a good idea of what you do with $1 million. Because, I mean, Al, you've been on this for a long time. I'm just saying expedite. Don't get bogged down in subcommittees. Make a faster decision. You don't have to drill down into the minutia. It's, do we want to use money for good, or do we want to use the land for good? That's really all I'm saying. Because you could spend 6 months studying.
We don't have to call it a subcommittee, but I think we have to split up the work, right? Like a couple of people on the board have to volunteer to put together some rough draft of something that we could all look at. Like, I think it's hard to do this all in hypotheticals, right?
I don't think that, I think the land is an opportunity, and I think it's an opportunity that, the iron's hot to strike on. Like, the whole state is like pushing for housing right now, and to address the housing crisis. There are so many opportunities for funding and support around new ideas. This was part of the idea of like getting our housing production plan updated and everything, is because the energy is right now for doing something with that land. And even if it's something little, even if it's like a few units, we'll be building our muscles. Like me personally, I would love to do something with like 7 or 11 acres of land before trying to do some bigger development, right? Like, we can learn a lot by doing something smaller. Like, it doesn't, like, it's not too little to do something with, you know?
I think that does not, like, it preclude the point. The point is we need some information that we can all look at. Like, you know, you talk to your contact and someone else talks to somebody else. We put something together and we get some rough outline of, here are some options of what development looks like. And then someone else on the board puts some rough numbers together and says, here are some options for what we could do with $1 million if we sold it. I mean, I think that's where we're sitting.
I have another idea for collecting information. If we have a town festival of some sort or meeting coming up that a lot of people are going to be at. Something I saw that Acton did at their Oktoberfest was they were looking at public transportation and like infrastructure issues with their roads, and they had a whole map of the town laid out, and they had like little sticky notes and all these different things so that you could make notes or mark and talk about different things. Mm-hmm. Well, doing that actually with this land.
We did it already.
Oh, okay. So we
finished doing.
So what was the feedback then? What is the?
We haven't gotten there on the agenda yet.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll get there.
Well, I'm happy to like volunteer to put some brain power towards one or the other of the two options, you know, whatever's needed. Like if there's energy on one side to look at what it would look like to do development, I'm happy to volunteer to like put something together that would look what it would look like to sell it and use the money, you know, like some sort of outline of, hey, if we sold it for 1.5, here's the other uses, you know, that we could put towards housing in Boxborough. Like, I'm happy to.
You know, I agree with Kristen that it makes sense to have a favored option. I mean, I think that, but I am very uncomfortable with deciding on what the favorite option is until we
need some information.
Get some information. I think that, to me, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's where I'm sitting. Like, I'm like, all of this discussion is interesting and helpful, but what's most helpful for me is to be able to look at something tangible, you know, look at like some pros and cons, like actually have some figures and like plan some things out. They don't have to be perfect. They can be drafted and revised, but like, I can't, like, you have a lot of energy to say like, development.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you, but also I can imagine a lot of really great uses that we could do with the housing trust if it had an infusion of, a couple million or so dollars, right? Like, I can imagine that maybe we could influence the availability of the missing middle housing in other ways, but I don't know what that looks like without putting some thought to it and actually investigating some options. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'm not like anti-development or pro-selling, but like, I want some data that we can chew on, not just the hypotheticals.
I don't think we should languish forever before we come up with conclusions.
Well, a step I would like to take, and it's one I think we could take relatively soon, is, coordinating a meeting just to talk and ask questions to Charles Durrett. Like, sit down with as many people at the housing board as are willing to come to it, and maybe Ian and Alec can make it to it, and like show him the land and like, and ask him how their process works.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, I think, well, I don't know, maybe, certainly I value all your opinions, but I think what we should do is try to find these groups, give each group some tasks to do, and then come back and we can talk about it at the next meeting. And we're not gonna talk about it forever. I think we gotta do something quickly. What about, Brittany, you said you wanted, would you want to sort of spearhead the effort to see what we could do if we sold it and used the money for trade?
Yep.
And Joe, would you like to be part of that? We were talking about it at the info session, I know.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd rather be part of if I'm going to be part of the group, one of the groups, I'd prefer to explore possibly the sales side. Can you refresh my memory on how long this parcel has been under ownership or under control by the town?
About a dozen years, maybe more, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the more I've thought about it, Al, since we talked, I mean, the size of the land, and if we had, it's what Kristen said. It's do we want to give value from the land or from the or from the proceeds? And I'm up for a challenge, but I think it's going to be really hard to crack this one in terms of a plan to develop it. So I think, expeditiously, I would be more interested in exploring kind of the sales side of it.
Very well. Would you like to join Brittany in the effort?
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, we've got two.
A piece of information I would like, as part of that report is who's buying right now, like what parties and, what category of buyers are would be likely to be interested right now.
I'd be glad to join the task group on trying to develop something there, put something there. And I don't know what your feelings about it. Channing seems to be quite interested in it all of a sudden. I mean, I don't see any.
Who's Channing?
Channing Wag.
What was this email?
Yeah, no, I saw the email. I just don't know them.
Well, he's a former neighbor and he's a former chairman of the housing board.
Oh, okay.
He's been on the housing board.
So he's had plenty of time to kind of think about this property.
Yes, he's not on the housing board now. He occasionally talks about trying to get on the housing board, but in any case, he's very interested, as you see from his email.
Yeah.
On putting something there, and he has some places he wants to talk about. So if it's okay with you,
I like that he already reached out to Acton Housing Board too, because I've been thinking about, I got to do that at some point.
Well, yeah, he knows these people, so he would be a useful.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Not a member, but he's been a member.
Yeah, yeah.
So
anybody who's got experience, we can pull that.
Yes, ma'am.
Just add one little thing. At last night's select board meeting, we did task Rajan and Mike with putting together a survey for the town, and it came from town hall hours, trying to get an idea of what staff and the community thinks the town hall needs to be. And we were saying there probably should be more on it than just town hall hours. So you might want to connect with Mike and Rajan and add this question too, if you want community input. I can't remember if it was Finn or Brittany. Somebody said, what's our next opportunity to interact with people? I mean, the next interaction opportunity is town meeting. That's when you'll have 500 people gathered together. But if you want to be part of the survey, Ian and Alec could work with Mike and Rajan.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the current object of the survey is really, but so this would be just another question of the survey.
Yeah, pretty much.
What do you want to do? So,
what we said last night at the select board meeting is kind of getting an idea of what do residents want from town. And this would be that opportunity to have people weigh in on their thoughts about moderate and affordable housing. I mean, anybody over the age of 60 has kids that can't afford to live here. Anybody under the age of 30 is struggling to be here. You've got the people in the middle. So anyway, it's an opportunity to be on the survey. I didn't mean to go down that path. We're looking for more things on the survey.
I agree. That's a good thing to put on the survey.
yeah, let's look into that. Wendy.
I was going to say what Kristen said last year before annual town meeting. There was tables set up before the town meeting for when people came in. They were set up outside, like, I don't know, a couple hours before, an hour before. I don't really remember, but that would be another place that you could try and get information there. And
Yeah,
then
something a little more
and
interactive.
Pfeiffer's Day too. You can get a free table at Pfeiffer's Day for nonprofit.
Yeah, I had already planned on signing that part of the housing board up for Pfeiffer's Day.
Perfect.
Okay, well, let's see. Let's summarize what we've done so far and see what we need to do. I think so far we've got 2 members of a group, me and Finn. Does anybody else want to be involved in this group? No.
I'll do it.
Yeah, okay. Three of us.
There's also Corrine.
Yeah, I'll talk to her. She might be interested too. But so there would be 3 of us, myself, Finn, and Diane, would look into what you could, and maybe Channing, if I can talk them into it. We can look into what kind of developments would make sense there, what they would look like, and try to take a look at the pros and cons of it. So that's one thing we've decided, I think. Yes, the other thing is, what? Somebody said something.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say that I'm available if either party subcommittee needs me. Alec might be available as well, but as your staff support, feel free to reach out to me if you need anything. If you need anything regarding the research that you guys do.
Okay.
Thank you, Ian. That can be a lot of use.
Thank you.
And I will remind you that this is you guys as subcommittees, you by all means can adhere to open meeting law, but you do not need to because 3 people are not a quorum of the housing board.
No, but they're not. Can you do that with a subcommittee? Can you meet?
I feel like subcommittee is a strong term. Like, I don't really see them so much as like subcommittees where we're making decisions. We're just divvying up we're just delegating information gathering, and it's just 2 groups. I don't feel like we need to commit to subcommittee terminology, especially if, to Kristen's point and Al's point, we need to kind of be doing this with haste, like acting with haste, right? So it's just people on the board are doing research, like, or collecting information, data gathering. Yeah.
So are you collecting information and then sharing it, or are you meeting the 3 of you? Because 3 members would violate an open meeting law.
3 members?
Yeah, 3 members. Like, you can't email like 3 members and you can't email.
How many isn't the housing board a 7-member?
It's
Yeah, but
6.
Yeah, but there's 6 at this time, but quorum is 50% of the constituted board number, so it's still 4.
Yeah, but I don't know if they
No,
can meet.
because there are 6 people on the housing board now.
Yes,
Yeah, I know, but I
the
don't
quorum
think
is still
three
4.
people can't talk together. It's just the law. It's just the law. It's just the
Yeah.
rule.
It's the
You
open
can
meeting law.
explain it, Kristen.
No, basically, yeah, sorry, I had to step away. Yeah, 3 of you can't meet unless you post. If you post a subcommittee meeting and it's public and anybody can attend if they want, that's great, but you can't just 3 of you meet and work on anything.
It's
So.
just like you
Perfect.
can't
Thank you for
email.
clarifying. Sorry for
Yeah.
the misdirection.
No,
Yeah, and that's why you
I
can't.
didn't even hear what you said. I had to go deal with the cat.
And that's why you have to be careful about emailing too. Like you can't like, unless you're just pushing out information like here are the minutes, here are the things. If somebody from the housing board sends a message, you don't want to reply to all. You just want to reply to the person who sent the message.
Okay, yeah.
Let me ask you this. Suppose that we decided that, suppose we kicked Diane out and the 3 people were myself and Finn and Shannon, who's not a member of the housing board.
That's perfect.
Yeah,
With the 3 of us, that,
I mean,
Yeah.
Diane and Kareen can stay neutral
yeah.
and they can just listen to the information that we collect.
Is that okay with you to be kicked out?
I can check with Becky tomorrow, but are you guys saying that because it's 3 people, it constitutes a quorum?
Not a quorum. It's just
It's
a
just-
violation.
Okay,
It's just a
all right.
violation. It's not a quorum.
Okay, yeah.
There's 3 or 4.
Any more
If
than
there's 6
2.
if there's 6 members and 3 of you meet, that's a quorum, and that's when you would have to have a posted meeting. It is a quorum, right? What do you
It
need?
is? No, I think 4 would be a quorum.
All right.
Yeah,
Ian,
since it's a,
check with Becky.
yeah, I'll check with Becky, but I'm pretty sure it's whatever the full number of the board is, regardless of vacancies. I'll check with Becky when she's back, I think tomorrow. I'll reach out to you guys and I'll let you know exactly what the posting, or if there will be any posting requirements for what we're talking about.
All
Yeah,
right,
there's
so
also
let's-
a gray area for workshops, but I know the select board got in trouble for workshopping too. So when in doubt,
I'll ask her. I'll get
You
all the
definitely
details
can't
I
have
can.
3 people talk.
let's see if we can find a workaround. So let's see, on the money end of things, we have 2. That's okay. Maybe we should leave it at that, not worry about it. So
Yeah.
I think that's what we decided.
Sounds
And
good.
I think what these respective groups ought to do is within for the next meeting, try to figure out, scope it up, figure out what makes sense, what doesn't, what are the pros and cons of, and maybe at the next meeting, we can try to look at it and come to some conclusion about what really does look like the best option.
Al, if I may.
Yeah.
And a question for Kristen, actually. Kristen, I know there was an email invitation that I had sent around to some of the boards. The select board was interested on having a discussion on housing production in Boxborough. Do you know where that stands currently? Because I know April 13th was being eyed, but as far as I know, it was only a placeholder last I heard.
Don't know. So you probably need to push it out again. I don't know. Sorry.
No worries. That's fine. I didn't know if it was mostly Kelly that was bringing it up. I think because a month or so ago the select board brought it up, and I'll double check with her, see if it's going to be April or after probably town meeting.
Yeah.
But if it was in
think-
April, it'd be good to at least loop in parts of this conversation, or maybe at the time that it might be now, the conclusions we get from this research and conversation to bring to that meeting. But
So
Yeah.
I'm pulling the memory banks here. I think that the select board was very cognizant of not like, we wanted to initiate the conversation, but we're trying not to step on the planning board's toes. And I think where we left it is that either the housing board or the planning board should probably initiate. We are all for it. We want to see it get moving, but we probably shouldn't be the initiators.
That was another thing in the back of my head is when, because I know you guys, obviously the select board has a very busy schedule, and once I saw this get scheduled by Kelly and then moved, I was like, I think this is better for us to maybe initiate, so we can have a bigger discussion on that when it comes to maybe the housing production plan. But yeah, thanks. We can leave that for now.
Okay, let's go with this basic outline of the task groups. We're recognizing that when we find out more about the rules of open meeting laws and everything else, that we may have to do some tweaking of it.
Oh,
I
You want to see those other
I
ones?
want to see the concept study.
What?
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I just didn't,
There's pictures.
Yeah, those are pictures of the.
And that's a concept that came up, they came up with, a company called GBR came up with about 12 years ago.
GPR?
Public
Yeah,
Yeah,
water
okay.
supply well. Oh, they put a well there. Okay.
that was just an example of the kind of things that we're talking about.
Reserve
Vicky,
soil
It's
absorption
the
area.
people out of air, the survey companies that work this out.
Yeah.
But those are kind of in the weeds.
Oh,
What?
is that correct? That's the people from air, the survey company worked out 3 different versions that could happen.
That's right.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so I think that's what we've done, and Ian and whoever and Becky are gonna see what our constraints are in these 2 task forces.
What's a soil absorption area?
What? Oh, that's where you can build a septic system.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to get into, this is really weeds, guys, but this is what determines the,
Yeah.
okay, and that's the thing, just please read this, this is what,
It's a wonderful article.
yeah, it is,
Yeah,
Okay, well-
thanks for sending that along, Kristen.
yeah. Okay, let's see, so I think that's what we've decided on the Stover property, and Ian or somebody will get back to us on what, whoever's gonna decide on what the constraints are, in case we have to tweak these groups a bit.
Yes, I'll check with Becky as soon as she's in. I think she'll be in tomorrow. So.
All right. Okay, moving on to the next, the HOPE program. And what's going on there, Vicky? I'm sorry, Wendy.
Wendy. Yes. So I have now, I guess, the official person that's with Finn and Al. I guess the documents never got sent to Alec. So I'm doing it. What's new? No, just kidding. So anyway, so we have had 3 applications and we have approved them all. I don't know if you want the details of them. 2 of them are water heaters at Boxborough Meadows. And the 3rd one is at Summerfields, and it was a bunch of repairs, a brand new toilet that was leaking, a shower that was leaking, and another toilet that was leaking. So plumbing leaking.
Beautiful.
That's
And I haven't-
wonderful.
Yeah, it's great. I haven't gotten any of the invoices yet. And I was away for a week, a little bit more than a week. But I did have a call from one person today and they were waiting for their approval status. So I told them that it was approved. And I have to call one person tomorrow because they were supposed to be getting the work done while I was on vacation. And then I just need to get their invoice before the next warrant, which I think is April 3rd. So the people are very, very happy.
Did those
Great.
3
Well, I'll tell
cases
you what,
go up to
Actually, I think I have
$2,000
4.
a piece?
Actually, I have 4.
Oh.
The other one was 4 in Boxborough Meadows for gutters, for ice to prevent ice dams. So there were 4.
Are they all going
Could
up
you
to
send-
$2,000?
you said Ben and I, what?
Sorry, Joe, go ahead.
Are all four going up to the maximum amount, 2,000?
The water heaters definitely. The toilet and all of that, I hadn't gotten the final. They worked with the person to bring it down because it was a lot more than they could afford. So I think that one is like right around 2,000, maybe a tiny bit under. And I can't remember the gutter one off the top of my head. I haven't looked at that one since before vacation, but my guess is 2,000.
Could you send, when they become available, could you send Finn and I the invoices that result from this, so we can at least have it for our records?
Okay, yeah, 100%. And I'm taking that out of the Affordable Housing Trust, right?
Yep.
Perfect. Yeah, I haven't gotten any yet, but yes, I will.
Thank you.
So that's what, 4 out of 20?
Yeah.
Is that 4 out of 20?
We have 4 out of 20, yeah.
I'm gonna do something too, I just haven't done it yet.
Famous last words. No, I'm just teasing.
Okay, thank you very much, Wendy. The estate planning letter. Have we got any kind of response from that yet, Ian?
Al, I've got great news for you.
Oh.
Yeah, so I sent this to it was Whitney Demetrius at the tail end of January, and I did not hear anything from her. I followed up with her in February, and I followed up with her just last week, and she did get back to me finally. It only took 3 times. So Whitney is the director of fair housing at the EOHLC. And she apologized. She said, "Thanks for flagging this email. I appreciate you reaching out. I'd love to connect and learn more." She is on vacation this week, and she said she would be happy to connect upon her return. So, Al, would you like to be part of this conversation?
I think I would, and I don't know what your read on this lady is, but it might even be worthwhile to invite her to a housing board meeting or something like that. I mean, if she's in a position to perhaps change things, I don't know, perhaps we could, throw in with her or something and help.
Yeah, I'll suggest. So I will. I'll toss both ideas up if she'd like to come to a future housing board meeting, or if she's pretty limited to the work day time frame. If the latter's the case, then Al, I think it'd be good if you and I met with her and maybe another member of the housing board, if anybody's into that. Obviously, nothing confirmed and locked down yet. But yeah, I'll definitely float the idea if she's able to attend a future housing board meeting and have a brief discussion, even if it's now by Zoom we can do. So that might be an attractive option for her as well. Yeah, so hopefully we'll have a more robust update at our next meeting. Hopefully we will have met with her or will be meeting with her then. But good stuff. Glad she finally came around and was able to give us some time or offer some time.
Yeah, that really is good news. I mean, it'd be great if we could provoke the system into actually doing something about this. I mean, but let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for your outreach, Ann. And
Yeah, no
definitely, I don't want to overwhelm her. I don't think that all of, too many more people, but I mean, if there's space, I would definitely be interested in just being in the conversation and more so hearing from her. Like, I'm interested in what her perspective is on this. So if there's space for that, I'd be interested in being involved, but no pressure if, I think you and Al are what's necessary, Ian. So.
Okay, thank you very much, Ian.
Yeah, no problem.
The next item is, we all, at one time or the other, were at the info session, town meeting that was held March 3rd. I thought it might be a good idea just to take a minute and try to collect our thoughts and our inputs from that occasion. Perhaps discuss anything we heard from the people that stopped by, and sort of pool our understanding.
I did not make that meeting, so I would appreciate a report on what happened. Be great.
I am going to just share this one right now. This is the visioning poster. Y'all can see that, right?
Nice. You digitized
I
it,
will
or is that
try
a photo?
to. This is a scan of it.
Nice.
So for the sake of me not scrolling up and down, the question is, what is your number one housing priority in town? These are the responses that we got. Yeah, so there was I want to say 40 or 42 dots. And the top priorities that we see are middle income housing, that's 9 dots there. Starter homes, you got 8 dots there, and affordable housing, 6 dots. So all three of those, over 50% of the dots that we see on those three. Obviously, you have some middle priorities as well, like the rental options, housing for seniors, and some of these other ones. But yeah, that's what we got for the visioning poster. I think this will be a really good exercise to continue to bring to some of our events, even if it's annual town meeting. Definitely at Pfeiffer's Day, I think will be very worthwhile too. I am realizing now after the info night that there is such thing as too much engagement at one session. I think we did fly a little too close to the sun. We had a survey, we had an engagement sign up, we had this visioning poster, and then we had this little map that we did kind of have an offer there, but it was a bit too much to ask folks who were just kind of walking by to try to consider doing all of them. But I'm glad that we got as much engagement on this poster as we did. We can keep this up and keep collecting feedback throughout the summer, and hopefully at the end of the summer have something really worthwhile of showing for it. We also, sorry, this is the survey. I won't show too much just because, but they all are all anonymous. But we did only get 6 responses of the 21 people who showed up at the info night. So more to come on that. We can obviously keep that live and keep using it in the future. But yeah, happy to talk about our thoughts on the event.
Sorry to cut you off there, Ian. Can we post the surveys to the housing board page on the website and just have them as like open surveys when people are looking for housing board information? Like, we invite you to give us your input on. Yeah.
That's a good idea. You know, when I saw this chart that's on the screen now, I was struck by the fact that, you know, if you combine middle income housing and starter homes, because I think they're much the same thing, the overwhelming number of choices is in that combined category.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably more than all the other choices put together. So that to me was striking.
I think what's striking is this is what you've been saying for the last year, and that's what it's coming out as.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to see, like, personally, obviously, I'd like to see more rental options. I would like to own a home in Boxborough, but I know that, like, the way that the affordable housing options work for that, it's not even accessible to me for the next several years. Like, I would have to do a lot. Meanwhile, I'm continuing to rent from a private landlord, a rent to own option, some sort of blend of affordable rental and first time home buyer or 40B, like that sort of thing, like an affordable rental that can turn into like a 40B would be amazing. I don't know if there's anything like that, but making it so it's like feasible to get there, because that in between space between renting and getting to the 40B, like even getting the 40B, it's such a Cinderella slipper to be in the right income bracket for it. It's very, very hard to get in them compared to how many people need homes. So incorporating rental options to help bridge that gap could be a good way of like helping to smooth things out.
Sure.
Yeah. I myself did not have any interactions with any person because we were in the middle of a snowstorm
Oh, yeah.
and nobody showed up when I was there.
Yeah.
I don't know what the other people's experiences were, but
I got to talk to a couple people, and they were basically just like, what's this? You know, like they just like didn't really have any like sense of like, what do you need from me? Basically, it was like the question that I got. It was like, you know, what does the housing board need from me? Or like, what's the housing board? What's like the thing you're trying to take action on? And I was like, well, we're trying to develop a housing production plan that's like representative of what the town's priorities are, but also we're trying to provide information about affordable housing because, you know, everyone's like, oh, affordable housing. And I was like, well, we meet our HSI, you know, and like kind of had a conversation about what the missing middle is actually, like, what does that actually look like? So it was interesting. It was good, interesting conversations, 2 in-depth, like, you know, 20-minute chats. Yeah, I mean, I think more opportunities to do things like this that aren't happening during a snowstorm would be really, really like content rich. I feel like it would be very interesting to chat with more people because I think there's just a misconception about what constitutes affordable housing and what's needed, you know, people, I think kind of it's like people think like, oh, there's Section 8 and then there's, you know, a single family home that's these days going for $1 million or whatever, you know, like,
Yeah.
I don't think people really know a lot about what's in the middle. So
Yeah.
that was
And
kind of
the idea of starter homes, like, it's like a fairy tale now.
right. Yeah, exactly. Like,
What was once a starter home is now a $300,000 home.
There are some townhouses in Foxborough, and that
Yeah.
is what we're looking for.
yeah, that
Yeah.
entry level, lower. Yeah.
like I say, that would be one thing that maybe we could do with Stowe Road is show it's not a fairy tale. Put together some units that are built in such ways that they're not that expensive to begin with, so we don't have to legislate them as
Right.
and
Yeah.
So I don't know, but anyway.
Wendy.
Well,
Just
yeah.
a quick thing. That State of Mass came out with this amazing like website as part of their mass.gov for a guide to affordable housing. So I can send you the link, and it explains it explains the rental units and how that works, how public housing works, and what the different categories are, and how to go about finding it. So it's really, really
Great,
good if anybody wants the link.
Send it to all the houses.
Yeah. Send it to all of us.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. I gotta find it.
Find it first.
It's not
Okay,
easy to
well, thank
find.
you. All right, well, any other further comments? If not, we'll move on to the next category.
Or Ian, did this constitute everything you had to share?
Yeah, in the future, I'm gonna have more graphics as we kind of continue to use and build out this visioning exercise as well as the survey. With 6 responses on the survey, I didn't see it very valuable to make any pretty graphs just yet. But hopefully early this summer after Pfeiffer's Day, we'll have a couple dozen interactions through town meeting and such to hopefully get some good responses on the survey, and we can keep using this and maybe clearing it before and after each use to get fresh things. I can scan it each time it gets a bunch of stickers on it like this. So
Do the different color stickers mean anything or
No.
Nope.
Just Yeah, just random. Yeah, okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure that you had, that was everything that you had to share of substance. Please don't waste time on 6 responses, putting in a pie chart.
Okay, moving on to the next topic, the housing production plan. Ian, boy, you're really working hard.
Yeah, so briefly, some somewhat unfortunate news. Our grant that we had put in with MAPC, technical assistance program funding, it was deferred, essentially denied. Yeah, however unfortunate it is, it's important that we don't let it hamper our discussion around housing production. Obviously, we're almost 90 minutes into this meeting, and that's almost exclusively what we talked about, which is great. And I know that there's energy from the planning board, the select board, the EDC. There's a lot of energy from these boards and committees to continue this discussion, and very clearly from the residents as well. So it's important that we keep this momentum moving. Alec and I are still planning to apply for the state's Community One Stop for Growth grant on June 3rd. Yeah, so the ball's kind of back in your court. If you remember, the board voted to fund the production plan through both the MAPC TAP funding, which we just heard back from, and the state funding, which is the Community One Stop that I mentioned we'll be submitting for in June. Getting both of those would have started our formal planning process around early 2027. Now, with part of that option off the table, the board should once again consider how this plan will be funded. Alec and I spoke about it a bit earlier this week. We said that right now we see 2 options. You can apply for the Community One Stop for Growth with between anywhere 15 to 25% local match from the Affordable Housing Trust. Or you could put up no local match and you can apply for this Community One Stop in June and then again reapply for the MAPC TAP funding later this year. That would set you back again by about half a year, and then this project wouldn't start until about summer 2027. So yeah, I feel free to discuss it now if you guys would like. But please know that Alec and I are not looking for any action on this at this meeting. We'll be looking for that come April. So at our next meeting at the end of April.
Have you been able to formulate any probability of success that is attached to either of those options?
Yeah, so I great question. And I'm not here to specifically recommend one or the other, but I will say that anytime a town, a department, a community applies for a grant, having some sort of local match is always going to kind of show the review committee that the town has already put money aside for this. Right now, we're going up to fund our open space and recreation plan, and the Conservation Trust Fund, the Conservation Commission took out $15,000 from their Conservation Trust Fund to put towards 25% of that plan's cost. So I'll say, I mean, Joe does, this is his bread and butter. So if he wants to speak to this, he certainly can. But I will say that from my limited experience and from what Alec has told me, that putting up some form of local match is definitely an attractive option and can increase the chances of receiving a grant. And I did say 15, the numbers I threw out, 15 to 25%, are pretty common figures that you might see for a local match. And when you're talking about $55,000 to $75,000 plan, that looks anywhere from about 9,000 to like 17 or 18,000. So I'm not familiar with the funds that you have in your affordable housing trust, but if if this is something to be acted upon at the next meeting, it might be good to bring those figures to the next meeting just to be sure.
Well, of course, the Affordable Housing Trust would have the final approval on whether to grant something
Yes.
like that. So that would give us a chance to talk to the folks, or for me to talk to Les and see what he thinks the posture of the committee might be for that. Any thoughts on the board? Posture, what?
Oh, posture, that makes sense.
Posture, right.
I mean, yeah, my thought is like, if we sold Stowe Road, right, like what that would give us, because if we're gonna pull from the housing trust, the funds are already pretty low, right? Like, we're not swimming in cash. So I don't think that that's like favorable necessarily. I do understand, having worked in higher education and doing a lot of grant funded programs and initiatives, that it does bolster the grant application to show that you've invested some of your own resources in the initiative that you're seeking funding for. I mean, that makes complete sense to me. But yeah, I'm like, we need cash, you know, so I'm thinking about my homework to do some research into like what a sale would look like. It's like, this is one of those uses, right? Like, to be able to like spend money on something like this, or to reimburse the housing trust if we did spend money on something like this, if timelines are, you know, disparate. But
this housing production plan is going to benefit the entire town and multiple committees, especially the planning board. Maybe we can put our hat out and ask for donations from other committees or town funds to help us get to a match. Our selling point or value add would be that the housing board would manage the process, but since the entire town is going to develop
Benefit, yeah.
And if the planning board is really concerned about our lack of a housing production plan, which I find disingenuous on their comment regarding the MBTA communities, then they should help us pony up and meet that match.
yeah, I mean, I like that.
I like that
I
idea
do
too.
too. I mean, we've been under pressure for years, and rightly or wrongly, I've been resisting the whole thing because we're so busy, I just didn't see that we had time to do it. But now it seems it's more useful. But the planning board's been constantly on our case to do it.
Yeah,
so
then they should contribute some money to help us make it happen.
That seems quite reasonable to me.
Yeah,
I agree.
We'll manage it for them, make it easy.
right.
I think, I guess we don't have to decide now, but what I'm hearing is, okay, fine, we'll put in a modest amount from the Affordable Housing Trust and expect, maybe an equally modest amount from the planning board.
Yeah. Yeah, if Ian's suggesting that it's 25% or 15 to 25% is a good local match, what if we're contributing 10% from the trust, and the planning, we propose the planning committee also contributes 10%, and then
I would just I'd be cautious of that. I mean, I'm not super familiar with the finances of the planning board, but they don't have any sort of fund. They do have town funds that are allocated towards consultant fees and outreach materials. I'm not sure what that number sits at, if it's in the low thousands, if it's north of 10,000, but I can definitely look and try to see what it is. But if we're talking about a number like 9,000, and it's something that we can consider, I would caution just a bit.
Can't hurt to ask.
Can't hurt to ask.
Are there other committees?
They should at least know that we did not get the grant. We're facing a shortfall for a match. If they think it's the housing board's responsibility, But they need the plan. They needed the plan to do a non-paper compliant MBTA. So if they need the plan, they can help us.
Yeah,
By the way, that's the first I've heard that that was part of the issue with the non-compliant, the paper compliance for the MBTA. It's all of it is news to me tonight. So.
What did you just say, Al?
What was said earlier was that the region we selected for the MBTA community zone
Right.
is really paper compliance because the mean more condos are there already. And I had not heard that one of the reasons for going that route was that we didn't have a housing production plan until this very evening. So
Yeah, I'd point you back to the minutes. I have some confidence that I have a pretty fair amount of confidence they would be in the minutes from one of the planning board meetings. That would probably be in August, maybe. Kristen, could you help me out? When would the warrant need to have been finished for Fall Town meeting? Was that August?
Yeah, it would have been in August.
Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, it would have been in August, and the final decision was to kind of remove one of the parcels from the district, and it wasn't the sole reason for removing that parcel. There were definitely several mentions of reasons why that vacant parcel should be removed from the district, but that definitely was one that came up more than once. Was that we had no clear housing production plan that could guide any development of housing there.
well, you don't need a housing production plan to know that there's something there already.
And the housing production plan doesn't guide you at site level, parcel level development.
Well, anyway, Joe's point is still valid. If somehow it would be useful to the planning board's business, they ought to put some money in. Bless their hearts.
yeah, right.
Yeah, I think it's softer just to let them know that we didn't receive the grant, and if we need a housing production plan, we need to make a match. It's going to benefit the entire town, particularly the planning board. So if they want to work with us, if they could work with us financially.
So,
Yeah.
Ian, you have time to deal with that. You can either pull together a warrant article. The select board hasn't closed it out yet.
Mhm.
If this is budgetary, you could go to FinCom and ask them to amend Article 5. I mean, so there are ways to manage this, but you've got a week.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. I don't mind some crunch time.
Yeah, I don't think it should come out of personally. This is me, my opinion is Kristen. I don't think it should come out of the housing trust. If the housing production plan is a planning board thing, it should either be a warrant article or in their budget.
Great. Sounds like there's a general agreement there.
Good luck, Ian.
Yeah.
I think the select board will be behind it either way. FinCom, I don't know. Everybody's really on board with all of this right now, so you might be okay. But like I said, you just don't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
That's all. The select board is going to have a virtual meeting on the 30th. So if you wanted to get something before us, you'd have to move quickly. I don't know what FinCom will do, but the FinCom can always defer their recommendation to town meeting floor.
Sounds good in that I am not a voting member of this. I would suggest empowering Chair Al to make a decision whether or not to add an article to the warrant regarding funding for the potential housing production plan. And I will keep you guys fully updated on this, but if it's something we want to explore, it will be very hard to meet again and discuss this within the next week, so it would probably be smart to empower Al to make any decision to put this in the warrant.
let me
Who owns
understand
the
this.
housing production plan? Ian,
Who
who
what?
owns it? Who owns the housing production plan?
It is completely owned by the Boxborough Housing Board.
Then I'm gonna suggest you pull a warrant article together really fast and ask the select board to unzip the warrant and insert it.
Okay.
If you want to be able to do it this year.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't understand all that quite, but I certainly would be willing to propose such an article. The reason I don't understand is I don't think I understand the mechanics of the finances here.
Yeah,
But-
and we can guide you through that. I think the biggest thing is if the housing board wants the money on July 1st, then you've got a week to pull an article together and, the town hall will help you. If you're willing to wait until September or whenever we have our special September, October, November, you would have a warrant article at that point.
This article would ask for appropriation for the entire sum.
Yes, because you'd be able to say, we applied for a grant, we didn't get the grant, so now we're asking the town to this, because you guys own it. I'm pretty sure the chair of the select board will unzip the warrant for you and make everybody mad, but that's okay.
Wait, sorry, Kristen, were you suggesting asking for the total sum of the plan or just the match fund?
You didn't get the award, right?
Yes, sorry, but I was saying that on June 3rd, we'll be submitting our next grant application for the housing production plan. Pretty much just a completely different portal for the same exact ask.
What's the dollar amount, the total dollar amount?
About $60,000 to $70,000. But so part of it, Alec and I think, was there was no local match when we originally applied that we just got deferred or denied from. So.
All right, let's not bog this meeting down with it. Let's talk about the mechanics of it. And maybe you decide whether you want to ask for all of it or part of it. How about that? And then let us know and then we'll figure it out. I see Joe nodding. You think so too, Joe? Yeah. I see Joe nodding.
Does the housing board need to formally authorize me to do that? Do we need to vote?
Well, I saw Joe nodding his head. I'm just curious what you're thinking,
sorry,
Joe.
I coughed.
I thought you were like nodding yes for half or no for whatever. Okay.
No, I'm thinking what the difference is between asking for just help us get the match to apply for another grant to make us more competitive, or if we just ask for the full, what did Ian say, $60,000.
I mean, we could ask for the full amount and say that we would return any amount if we were able to get the grant. That way, even if we don't get the grant, we can still go forward.
Yeah, that's kind of a slippery slope, I know, because anytime we're gonna vote on this in May, it will be public record that Boxborough voted to appropriate $60,000 towards the housing production plan. I work for EOHOLC, and I see Boxborough asking me for money. I go to their warrant. They already approved $60,000 for use. I'm gonna deny them.
Oh, okay,
yeah. So we're returning to asking the town essentially to contribute the local match amount.
Yeah, let's do the local match.
So I think to leave both options available after I'll discuss it with both Alec and if Mike's in tomorrow. You could authorize and Kristen, jump in if you don't see this as concrete. You would authorize a motion. You would seek a motion authorizing the chair of the housing board to submit an article into the annual town meeting warrant to ask the town for funding in full or in part to fund the Boxborough housing production plan.
Okay, does somebody want to make that motion?
Yeah. I motion to
just say so moved.
Yeah.
All you have to do is say so moved. That was a lot of words.
And do I hear a second?
I second.
Okay, any more discussion? All right, Let's vote. Diane,
Aye.
Tim,
Aye.
Brittany?
Aye.
No, I'm not sure I should vote for this, actually. Al, aye. Joe?
Aye.
Okay. So we have so moved. And now operationally, I'm trusting somebody that knows more about this than I to draft this thing. Can you
Yeah,
do it?
we'll be able to help you with that, Al. It's I'll give you a call tomorrow after I talk with Alec and Mike about it, and maybe Thursday. But yeah, we'll probably have something. We will have something, even if it's an explanation of why we don't have anything for the select board on Monday. You said, right?
Yeah, so
Okay.
our agenda goes out on Thursday, so even if you ask, after you talk to Mike, put a placeholder on our agenda. And
Perfect.
the worst thing is you won't actually move forward on Monday, but I just don't feel like you should use the trust money for this. This should be town money. It benefits the whole town.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And we are low, and
It's
Wes,
not-
I'm not sure is all that keen about using affordable housing trust money either. So that's why I'm a little bit concerned about going that route too. Okay, let's do that. Let me know. I'll try to help.
Wonderful.
Thank
And before we move on from this, I did want to loop back into that conversation about, well, quite frankly, a conversation on housing production. We had mentioned that this would be a conversation better initiated by the housing board. Is this something that the housing board would like to take up sooner rather than later, or explore following annual town meeting? It could be a May meeting where you have a joint committee meeting between EDC, planning board, select board, and housing to discuss some of these options. I think that might be a good option. Quite frankly, May is kind of an in-between period of the summer and following annual town meeting. And I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but we might have had something at the annual town meeting that was discussed.
Yeah, I will say that my initial reaction is to wait a bit. But there's nothing worse than having a big meeting when you don't know all the facts. I think we should, figure out what we can and be able to know what the pros and cons are. And we can have a meeting and have a more productive meeting if we wait until we gather some more facts. So May's fine with me.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah.
I'll send a placeholder. I will say that inviting the planning board and EDC and even I haven't spoken to the well-being about it yet. But they were very enthusiastic about having this conversation, and all signs point to a lot of enthusiasm on this topic, and I think May will be a good time. And I agree with Kristen's sentiment that this is definitely better coming from us to have this discussion rather than the select board. So I'll pencil it in for May, and I will remind us before in advance of our next meeting. But sounds good. I'll look for May.
And what were the committee? You said the planning committee, the EDC, and what?
Yeah, let me look real quick. I think it was well-being, EDC, planning board, select board was there, and housing board. So I think that's 5 committees there.
You might
Yeah,
ask FinCom to send a rep.
FinCom.
FinCom, okay.
It seems to me the more the merrier, because in the end, we're gonna have to get this approved by town meeting.
Yeah.
And having the maximum buy-in is very good politically. I think, to me, so I think the more the merrier that we get involved.
I agree. I'm also just curious what the other committees' perspectives are on, what does FinCom see as the priorities for housing? What, I'm genuinely interested in what our volunteer colleagues are, their lenses on this. So for us to initiate and say, we're pursuing this plan. We want your input. It's a town, it's a townwide beneficial initiative. I think shows, I think it's good politically, goodwill. Yeah, it shows leadership.
It's
Love it.
not only good politically, amazingly, it's also a good thing.
Yeah, like in practice. Yeah.
Okay, all right, so I think we're done with that. And what's the next deal? Could you fish around in your computer to the ATM article?
I can believe it is at the bottom of this document you thoughtfully crafted. Here we go. Right.
Yeah. Now, this is the current draft of the article that will be presented in the upcoming annual town meeting for BRAP funding. I distributed to, I think, the latest draft this afternoon to you. And I would like to formally vote on our recommendation, and further down is I anticipated that we would not reject the rental assistance program, since it's kind of our program. And that's the wording that Wendy and I came up with to support our recommendation. So if you had a chance to look at it, if you have any, I think if it's a bit confusing, but I think that we still can make changes at this point, because the select board has to vote on it. But mostly I would just like to vote on our recommendation. We really haven't done that yet.
Okay,
I move to accept the article. Is that where we're at?
Go ahead and move to recommend it.
Or move to recommend the Article 49.
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, shall we vote?
I,
Aye.
Aye.
Al, aye.
Aye. Nice work.
And no, aye.
Aye.
And Corinne's absent. Now, see, I think I can change the voting. It's now listed as 600. It'll have to be 501. With Corinne's abstention, I was imagine she'd vote for it anyway, though. Okay, thank you very much. Does anybody have any other comments to make about this document?
No, great job. Thanks for your work on it.
Thank you.
I think it was mostly Wendy that did this.
Well, thanks, Wendy.
Great work as always, Wendy.
Thank you.
And this is the next meeting. Now, I screwed up in the agenda. I had a sort of a schizophrenic date there. I put April 28th, 24th. This is when the next meeting will be. April 28th, as usual.
Good work. Okay. Be there with bells and whistles on.
Okay. And please, if you have topics you want, send them to Diane a week ahead of time. It's easy to forget a topic, believe it or not. And I think
Corey did a very good job of sending me information. And if you do have something you want on the agenda, just send it.
Okay.
I was calling people, but you can just send it to me. Everybody knows who everybody is.
yeah, I mean, it just makes sure makes sure we do a good job of including all the important topics every month. It's easy for one person like me to forget about some topic, even though I shouldn't do that. Okay, well, that's all I have for this evening. Is there anything else that there's the elephant again. Anything else that people want to go past that?
Oh, down.
No, yeah. Don't, I don't want to. Okay.
Great,
Fine.
that's it. Yeah.
Okay, and do I hear a motion that we adjourn?
I have no other topics, so I move to adjourn tonight's meeting.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion of the adjournment? Okay. Diane? Ben?
Aye.
Brittany?
Aye.
Al? Aye. Joe?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you very much for attending. I think it's been a very useful meeting. I think started to dig into some very difficult topics, and hopefully with us geniuses, we'll preserve. Thank you very much.
Thanks to everyone on Zoom world.
Bye.